privacy advocates are speaking out on the issue. Two of them join me now. John Sileo, president of the Sileo Group, and Adam Levin, founder and co-chairman of Identity Theft 911. Adam, I'll start with you. Is it an invasion of privacy?
Oh, there's no question it's an invasion of privacy. And, of course, there will be people that will say they're balancing national security issues against privacy issues. But I'm always concerned that under the cloak of national security, you have a situation where privacy is being eroded. And again, while it's important to have the ability to do something when there is probable cause to do it, when it's just sort of a fishing expedition, it becomes very scary. And banks tend to over-report to this network in order to protect themselves. And you don't want to be caught in the web.
They're legally required to report this information, so obviously it would make sense that they over-report rather than under-report. John, to you say there's a lack of effectiveness to this. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, to Judge Napolitano's point, which is you've got a haystack of data here, and that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to find the terrorism of needle in that haystack. To just do it simply for the sake of having it doesn't mean that it's going to be effective. I think there needs to be a great deal of thought put into it and a lot of oversight of how this would work, because listen, it's not just privacy issue here, it's a security issue. Are we comfortable letting one governmental body have all of our records in one single location? That's a little troubling. And like Adam said, you know, this is a balance here between every time we give up that we get a little bit more security, think of TSA, we give up a little bit of freedom. And that's a really important balance to be conscious of before you make these.
That's for sure. It's
yes,
a slippery slope. You know, we had a story this week, though, that shows you the degree to which we are exposed to hackers who might want to take our information. Annualcreditreport.com. Now, this was the website that federal law required be set up so you can go in and get your credit report. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion all report into this Annualcreditreport.com. It was hacked, and information of major celebrities was given up. It was unbelievable. Beyonce, the president's wife, Michelle Obama, a number of people had personal data that went out into the public marketplace. Adam, to you, what did you make of this story?
Well, what really happened is it's less of a hacking story and more of an improper use of information that may have been the fruit of hacking that was used to fool authentication systems. And that's really it illustrates the larger point, which is there is so much information out there about us that either we mistakenly give or databases at all levels of government and as well as business have been hacked. And you know, this points out the fact that it's no longer an issue of if someone's going to be a victim of identity theft, but when.
Wow, okay. Well, it's interesting because essentially what these fellas, I assume, did was they went on the website and pretended that they were Michelle Obama and filled out the forms to get their data. Now, some of the information they got back was accurate, some of it was not. Here's what Equifax had to say about the data breach. We are aware of recent media reports pertaining to unauthorized access to files belonging to high-profile individuals. Equifax can confirm that fraudulent and unauthorized access to 4 consumer credit reports has occurred. Of course, more names were reported, but John, to you, what do you make of this story? What is the lesson for consumers?
You know, I think to some degree, this is the same story we've been hearing for the last 10 years. It just so happens that it's been to celebrities and stars, and so we're paying really big attention to it. And I think there's a lot to be learned there. That listen, we can take some steps now that we wouldn't have otherwise because it's getting some publicity that we hadn't had before.
Well, what steps should we take? John, to you first, and then to Adam.
You bet. I think number one is, you know, obviously beware what you share. As Adam said, this was a social hack. Make sure that when you're putting that stuff up on Facebook and filling in your profiles and working online, the more you put up, the higher the risk you have. Secondly, you got to pump up those passwords. They've got to be long and strong, and you got to vary them site to site. You can't use that same password on every site, or you're going to get stung, not just in one place, but then they're going to go to your bank and every place else. And finally, you got to be a skeptical clicker. You need to, when you're clicking on what you think is a link that a friend has sent you on a Facebook post or a tweet, if it's too good to be true, if it's too bad to be, you know, real, if it's you don't click on it if it's out of character.
Adam, what do you say?
Well, what I think is, first, you got to minimize your risk of exposure, and I agree with everything that's been said. Secondly, you have to monitor, seriously monitor, and that is going to places like annualcreditreport.com, thinking about getting credit and fraud monitoring programs, enrolling in programs in banks and credit unions that notify you of when transactions occur.
But Adam, do I have to pay for that service, or can I get it free?
Well, you know, you can get services free where they will notify you when transactions occur. Obviously, credit and fraud monitoring, you really have to pay for, and you decide what you want to pay for. You can also go to sites where they have free credit reports that are really free, like credit.com, where they actually give you access to information and you can sort of monitor what's going on. But then there's really a third element. You've got to have a damage control program. And many people don't realize they actually have those programs, that their insurance companies, banks, credit unions, employers offer assistance if you're having a problem. And in many cases, it's free as a perk of the relationship with the institution.
I like free, Adam. Freedom appeals to me. Thanks to both of you, John and Adam, for coming on tonight. Great conversation, very informative. Thanks so much.